Okay, the time is now 6:30 and the May 21st, 2026 meeting of the Development Review Board for the City of Winooski is called to order. The Development Review Board is a quasi-judicial volunteer resident board that upholds standards and procedures as defined in the Winooski zoning ordinances. Those ordinances, officially the Unified Land Use and Development Regulations, are created by the Winooski Planning Commission and based on the Municipal Development Master Plan, which is also the work of the Planning Commission. We review and make decisions on subdivisions, site plans, conditional uses, variances, and appeals of the zoning administrator's determinations. Our deliberations and votes always take place in closed executive session after testimony has been taken on all applications. The DRB has authority through Vermont state statute and ensures due process, protects the rights of applicants and the rights of the public to participate in proposals for land development within the city of Winooski. Appeals of decisions made by this board are heard by the Vermont Superior Court Environmental Division and ultimately the Vermont Supreme Court. My name is David Weisberger. I'm the chair of the DRB. Aaron Guyette, who is not here, is our vice chair. Winooski's Development Review Board also consists of Jordan Matt, Ryan Wade, and Felipe Hoyos. Riley Livermore and Chris Wheeland are our alternates who may participate in questions and deliberation but do not vote unless a regular member is absent. Are there any changes to the published agenda that anyone would like to propose?
None at this time.
Hearing none, I will give opportunity for public comment, which Vermont's open meeting law grants to anyone at every public meeting. Since there does not appear to be public here, anyone online?
Nope,
We will move
no.
on.
Less exciting than last time.
Yeah, this appears to be a less popular meeting.
I think it's sunny out.
We'll move on to approving the meeting minutes from last meeting. I will entertain a motion to accept the previous meeting's minutes.
Motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes. I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Good. I have no comments either. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes. Okay, since there is no one here to give testimony, we will not swear anyone in. Well, I guess we'll swear Greg. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Excellent. Okay, at this point, we will open the public hearing with the first item of business, which is a planned unit development for 197-205 West Allen Street. Grab that microphone over to you there. I totally forgot that we'd seen this before. I asked Ravi, why is this a final deliberation? It's because we told you to come with a final.
I will go over that as best I can, maybe step in if I'm missing anything. I think we were in front of the board for preliminary review, maybe
Sketch.
sketch review,
Yeah.
even last December.
Yeah, in December.
And since then, we worked on the changes with the architect to reduce the building size, which was requested by you all to make sure we had the 10 feet setback for everything, sort of up in that back corner. Additionally, we met with the Historic Society.
Local Resource Advisory Board.
Sorry, that's the real name. We met with them last month and discussed the property and the project because both 205 and 197 are on the state register for historic buildings because they were part of the St. Francis workers buildings, I believe. Basically, there was a old brickyard that is where the O'Brien Center is now, and that gentleman built a bunch of houses for his workers, and basically that's the bunch of houses on West Allen Street are that. So we met with them to kind of gain some foresight on maintaining the homes, as well as we are looking to get a 10% coverage increase for maintaining those structures and their integrity kind of as is. And so we met with them, chatted about what we plan to do. the project team seemed pretty open to facilitating those. And then we had to wait for that to all go through, so that's why we're here in front of you today in May. Also being said, we have worked, DPW has reviewed the plans. They did have a few changes and requests of me. I was not able to make those changes and requests in time to produce any substantial material for everyone to view at this meeting. But we are working on that and hope to have that all in pretty short order back to the city and then back in front of you. I think for that reason, we're probably going to continue the meeting tonight, so that you can have a bigger picture, a better picture, and the DPW can have their final look at it, after we make the changes. But to summarize the changes, basically, we will be taking the sewer straight down the middle of the driveway, and it will interconnect with the city sewer in the road. The water line for the project will replace the existing water service to 197. Both water meters for the new building and 197 will be located in the basement of 197. And then water will exit 197 kind of on the west-hand side of the existing building and then run up the driveway to the new building. And we are also, DPW requested some additional materials and calculations for stormwater on site. I was able to at least do the infiltration tests yesterday, and they went pretty well. If anything, they're better than I was assuming. So I think we should be in pretty good shape, but I plan to add a little bit more detail to that and provide those calculations for their review. Besides that, not too much has changed since I believe you saw it in sketch. Like I said, the building did get smaller in the back in order to meet that 10-foot offset. We did move the trash cans to kind of a little bit further away from the entrance of the building. I think that's about it. To give you a more reminder, I don't know if you all were here, we developed 205 maybe 2 or 3 years ago and put those other 2 buildings out there. In the meantime, the same group purchased 197 late last year, and we are looking to dissolve the interior property line between 205 and 197 and create just one PUD for all of this. And so it will just be one property post this project. And so that's also part of this property is the boundary line adjustment. I think that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions, and if there's any other things that the board would like us to look at, I can make those revisions because we're continuing.
Procedurally, how does the lot line adjustment coordinate with the PUD? Are those the same application?
Yeah, so PUDs are considered subdivisions. So when the decision is issued by you, then the applicant would have to submit a finalized plat within 6 months of the issuance of the decision.
So the only waiver you'll need is for the existing house?
The existing 197 is, I think, 8.5 feet from the front property line.
Okay. And we gave one for the other property, I think.
Yes.
For the back building, there was
For
a waiver.
the one on the left, the
Yeah.
existing.
There was a waiver for that building. To give a little bit more on that, the property line in this area is, through many people, what many people would consider probably their backyards. The railroad right-of-way kind of cuts a lot of people's property in half. And so I think they've been using it for years. It will still feel like a backyard back there. Actually, 197's garage and shed are almost fully on the railroad property. And so we'll be removing those. If you go to the existing condition plan, you can kind of see how the property line kind of cuts through the existing sheds. And so it will feel a little bit like more space in the back. I believe that's kind of the main reason we received the waiver on the first project. But during our discussion, the board was interested in increasing that, and so we just reduced the building size to meet the 10-foot setback.
And just so I'm understanding correctly, 197, that we're essentially grandfathering it in, because that's how it was built, right? So,
197 is the existing
yeah,
historical building, yes. It's the historic brick building, the brick portion of it, actually.
Well, this includes the request for the 10% lot overage. Is that, you had mentioned that? I don't remember that from the sketch review.
We,
That
in the
request.
sketch review, we were actually reviewing, I think I brought 3 ideas to the board at that time. We were looking at this waiver, or it is a waiver?
It's an allowance. Yeah, so under 5.15 for adaptive reuse, in the residential districts, if a applicant is retaining all of the historic structures on a property, and by historic structures, structures that are on the state, national, or local historic register, or are eligible to be on either of those registers, can get an additional 10% lot coverage automatically. The applicant's retaining 197 and 205. Both of those are on the local register and the state register. It's all part of a state historic district for the Francis Leclerc working worker houses.
And so yes, that, when we came in for sketch, we were looking at that, but we were also looking at the 15% if we made all of the, or if we made the majority of the units 3-bedroom. Obviously, it was, we were able to kind of make it under 60% lot coverage and then make this work instead of trying to, we probably would have had to reduce the building in the back, might have just become 1 single and then a 3-bedroom.
Instead of stuffing 3 bedrooms in there,
I think
or
there's,
to get to the 65%.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we chose this direction instead.
you mentioned that there was some work in progress regarding the feedback that DPW gave you specifically about the sewer, but they also noted the stormwater runoff and whether or not it could be preferentially diverted to the backside or the north side. Is that still under consideration? Or will that be under consideration?
I guess I don't recall that being the question. I thought the question was that the DPW was just looking for more information about how the stormwater would be managed and if the infiltration rate meets the water.
They made a note about preferring it get diverted to the back of the lot away from the street side to make sure that,
Yeah, it was always being diverted to the back of the lot. So I mean, we'll definitely try to get more. Right now, I'm actually looking, I pulled that contour back in the middle of the driveway, so more will go back there. But all the buildings and the majority, I'd say, even in this plan, probably about 3/4 of the new pavement already went to the backyard.
okay,
There will be portions of the driveway which obviously connect to the road, which I can't.
of course.
But I'm trying to get the bulk to the back to where, and all the rooftops can easily be directed there to the gutters.
Thanks.
I think the historic review had 2 recommendations, you know, if the architect is gonna respond to either one of those.
I don't know if they've responded yet. I think one had to do with, I'm gonna butcher what the,
It was like adding brackets, and one was painting it
yeah.
a color that sympathetic to the other colors in the
It was
neighborhood.
very open-ended. I discussed with that board that, I mean, I think the owners here want to kind of create a symbiotic space between that and the new building, so I figured the colors would pretty much match the newer buildings that were just constructed. And the accent brackets, I don't think the project team had any issue with that. But I don't know if they've been incorporated into the new
What's the role of this board? They can make recommendations. Do they rule on the 10% or anything, or is that?
No, so the 10% is automatic, just based on the way section 5.15 is written. This board is an advisory board to you and to the planning commission. To you, they do project review for projects and properties that are on historic properties, such as this one, and they provide recommendations to you that you can incorporate as permit conditions. So you can take these recommendations, you can accept them and put them into the permit conditions, or you can reject them. Typically, DRBs will incorporate them into the permit conditions through and through. But that is their role as advising the applicant and the DRB.
And so I don't think the project team has any issue with that. I think maybe the only thing we'd be looking from the DRB is maybe a better definition of what meshes would be. My intent to them, when I mentioned to them, and what I'll mention here, is I do think they want it to be a similar color to 207 and 209 that were out there. And the existing structure will obviously stay the same color. 197 is brick, I believe the color of brick, and then 205 is a white painted brick.
Yeah, I think the idea was to make sure that the color doesn't detract from interpreting the worker houses. So, because 207 and 209 are like a darker blue,
Yeah.
like a navy, right? So they kind of blend into the background. And so the focus is on 205. And I think that's what they were hoping for with 197 as well, that you don't put anything like splashy or garish in the back that affects how one reads 197, and that 197 can be read by itself with the buildings in the back kind of blending into the background. So they wanted to keep it more open-ended with the meshes because they didn't want to dictate color, because they knew that it could be a really wide palette, but that was their intent.
Okay.
There's it all better way.
So
But then-
camouflage.
I think the intent was also to not make it look like a brick building, so that it felt part of that system. But
Mhm.
I do think the intent is to make it similar colors to 207 and 209.
Okay.
What else? More questions? So you're coming back, so you're asking us to continue this meeting until next month.
I thought that's what made the most sense when we talked. We just got the
Yeah.
comments a little too late. I didn't have enough time to put it all together and
Yeah.
get it in front of you guys, so.
DBW and I are working out our workflow a bit. It's been a work in progress. So I met with them last month. They were like, "Oh yeah, it's fine." And then last week I met with them. They're like, "We actually have a bunch of comments on this." So it's a work in progress, and I expect there will be some hiccups like this as we iron out our workflow going forward.
I have the sense they're commenting more, but maybe that's just because it was all behind the scenes previously.
It's, yeah.
I just didn't see the sausage being made.
Yeah, I don't know.
It has changed. I would say more, they want more detail in this stage instead of having it being painted right before you pull a building permit, which in historical projects in Winooski, that has been the case, kind of how it goes, is this board looks at kind of the use and determining the use, and then I would work with DPW between this board saying, yes, this project can go forth as a use, and then DPW is sort of the nuts and bolts of how we connect it into the cog of the city. It's more of a city determination on how you want to run those things. And if this is the path forward, then we'll meet it. But it's just gonna take some time to figure that out.
Likewise.
Yeah. That being said, I don't think any of the changes or requests or any of the stormwater stuff is that high of a threshold. I think it will look pretty similar to what it looks like now. It'll just provide the DPW with more information for them to make a better determination on the project.
Revy, do you know off the top of your head, is there a plan to implement a sidewalk on this street? Or is that not part of the sidewalk?
There's one across the street.
Yeah.
There's one across the street, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the sidewalk plans. I'd have to go back to the walk bike
I think
plan.
the building to the east of 197 is gonna make it pretty difficult to put a sidewalk.
Yeah, he's right on the road.
Yeah, and there's a
Mhm.
sidewalk on the other side.
And Winooski's generally been prioritizing streets that have no existing sidewalk
I think it's, yeah, one
on
side,
either side of the road.
one side
yeah.
pot per road,
Yeah.
right, sidewalk per road.
The historical recommendations, those are gonna get posted, so they're not available right now. The recommendations for the historical preservation.
Oh, no, they are.
Oh, I didn't.
They're
see
in your
them.
packet,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
The lighting and the landscaping, is that part of that?
No, not quite. So they didn't make any comments about landscaping or lighting when it was brought to them. They're typically more focused on the building itself and the
Yeah.
architecture.
I have a comment on the landscaping. It looks like those perennial beds are gonna have a tough time in that 10-foot space from the north side of a building. But
And they could do hostas.
It'll be a hosta garden.
Hosta
A
garden.
shade garden.
yeah, it should-
Yeah,
maybe a Zen rock garden.
it's a nice sentiment, right?
Yeah.
To put
Everybody loves green things.
the 1 by 3 foot perennial bed in.
We could look to put stuff more in front of the building too. But I think there's some pretty substantial bushes in front of that existing porch.
I don't know how this is.
Mhm.
Not saving the tiger lilies though?
The tiger lilies will be gone.
Yeah, I figured.
So no decision today, is that basically, or are you asking for?
I'm asking to continue at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend as well until DPW's completed the updated stormwater plan. So you're meeting on the 10th for that hearing on appeal. The 18th is still penciled in as a possibility, but you can continue this hearing to the 10th or the 18th. I'm available both days, but you already have a meeting scheduled on the 10th, so.
Can that one be warned in time for the 10th, this one?
Yeah. Since we've already warned this meeting for tonight, it's already met all the warning requirements. And so we'll just do meet our open meeting law requirements for putting the public notice for the continuation appropriately.
Do you have a preference, Greg, between?
When would you need information by to be on the 10th?
Ideally, by Tuesday at the latest, so that way
Next
that gives, so that way that gives DPW a week to 10 days to review what you have.
I think I can make that work.
Thanks.
I mean, it would be great not to have, if we don't have to have the 18th, not to
Mhm.
have it, since we're already on the 10th. Aim for that. Do we have to vote on the
Yes, you
continuation?
do have to make a motion.
Okay. Would anybody care to make a motion to continue this hearing?
I'll make a motion to continue tonight's meeting.
I second that.
Okay, continued to the 10th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you much. I know we just continued. Was there anything else that the board wanted me to incorporate? So I can do that and the next one would be kind of smoother.
No, I mean, I think from my part, I think it's good.
It's all
It's coming more into conformance, like that garage is going away, you pulled the building in.
Yeah, I mean, if you have your lighting plan, that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, so I don't have my agenda. What's next?
City updates.
City updates are next.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Rosanne. I'm the city summer intern. I'm the summer intern. I usually work with Elaine, but Elaine is gone for the week, so off somewhere without me. But you guys get me tonight. I'm just like observing. I don't have any really good questions. If you have any questions for me, I'd love to. But other than that, I'm just here to observe.
Can you say your name again?
Rosanne.
Razan.
And
Yeah.
how long are you here?
Nice to meet you.
I'm here for the summer. I'm a sophomore in college at the moment. So I branched out to the city. I was like, hey, does anyone want to take me in for the summer? They took pity.
Okay, great. Welcome. All the meetings aren't as exciting as this one, but, you know.
Yeah, you missed the good ones.
No, I was looking at the last one. There's like a lot more people at the other one.
Well, I mean, the next one will be different. It'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, other,
Other updates. So I have restarted thinking about the comprehensive plan. We are doing public engagement on next Thursday at the schools from 5 to 7. The focus point for that will be on land use. So I'm hoping to provide like a starting point for goals and objectives to consider for the comprehensive plan that I would like some comments on. I can send that out to you too individually, so you can provide some comments and feedback on it directly if you're not able to make next Thursday. Alongside that, we've also sent out notices to all of the property owners on the local historic register. We will have members from the Local Resource Advisory Board attend next week's public engagement, so that way those property owners can talk to the Local Resource Advisory Board about what this exactly means and what does this entail and how does this affect their relationship to their properties. I think it's long overdue, so we're finally doing something like that.
Will there be are you making a presentation, or is it just more of an open, like, walk around?
It's more of an open walk around. It'll be, I think, very chill. I don't have too much going on. Just me, some ideas on an easel, a couple members on the Local Resource Advisory Board to take any questions, and then we'll also probably show some of the renderings from building typologies that Jeff and Keith have been working on.
Forgive me, can you synopsis the comprehensive plan? I feel a little bit out of the loop on that.
Yeah, so the comprehensive plan is our long-range plan for how we want the city to be, feel, look 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now.
Yeah.
We review it every 8 years. Per statute, we are required to renew or readopt or overhaul it every 8 years. Typically, in the planning sense, comprehensive plans are done everywhere, and they're typically reviewed every 5 to 10 years. In Vermont, it's pretty common for comprehensive plans every 8 years to go through some sort of rewash, I guess. Updating information, updating layout, and providing a lot of new information into it, updating all the goals and objectives.
So you're not stuck with a plan from 25 years ago?
Exactly. So, and a lot has changed since 2018, 2019, from when the master plan was created. So there's a good structure that I'm planning to retain. Our master plan is the city's strategic plan. It is used by council as a guidance document, and they rely on that structure. So I will be retaining and maintaining that structure. But the data, the information, and many of the goals and objectives need to be updated. Many of them have already been completed or don't, or just obsolete based on where we are today. So all of that is being worked on at the moment. This is, I would say, step 2. Step 1 was going to each and every commission and just getting a general sense of thoughts of how they felt about the goals and objectives, what they've accomplished so far, what they'd like to add to that list, what they'd like to remove from that list, and then reworking it. So I've met with municipal finance a couple times, met with municipal infrastructure, met with Safe, Healthy, Connected, local resources about this. So we've reworked. We have a draft running list of goals and objectives so far, but right now we're looking to get a lot more input on the different parts and different sections. So throughout the summer, we'll be having more public engagement on the different pillars of the plan, essentially. So next month, we'll be going more into municipal infrastructure and showing off some future transportation planning maps and thinking about how do we want to build off of the walk bike plan and the work that DPW has already done, and what are the gaps and what are the connections that we want to build towards. And then going into the summer, we'll have a Safe, Healthy, Connected session, just going over those goals, those objectives, along with the economic vitality section. So all of the dates are all up on the city website. They are spread out one a month throughout the summer. And there's a lot more information to come from those sessions.
Great, thank you.
And is it correct to say that that then informs a rewrite of the land development regulations?
Not necessarily. So we need to have a valid comp plan that's adopted by city council in order to carry out zoning in itself. If the comp plan hasn't been readopted, then zoning is a bit on pause. So you need to have the comp plan in order to have zoning, but you don't necessarily need to update the comp plan, update the zoning based on where the comp plan is. I think that where we are with zoning and the comp plan, they're going to coincide pretty well, because the zoning has kept pace with where the comp plan is so far. I don't foresee any changes that we'll make based off of input from the comp plan, but I may be wrong.
I mean, aren't there a lot of sections in the zoning that quote the comprehensive plan? Specifically the problematic ones about character of the neighborhood?
Well, kind of, sort of not, well, yes and no. So there are many parts of the zoning that refer directly back to either the Winooski Municipal Development Plan or the master plan.
Are those different?
No, I think they're the same. They've just been used interchangeably in history.
And we're adding in another one now too, so calling comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so.
That's all the same thing. That's one.
Yeah. So I think that's one piece that'll have to like go through, strike through, and then recall, and then call it like our current municipal plan or our comprehensive plan or something like that. In terms of the character of the area elements, I think we're already covering much of that through building typologies with the updates that City Council discussed on Monday, and much of the work that's going to happen throughout the summer with the ULUDR updates. So I don't think that there will need to be, I don't foresee there will need to be more alteration after that, but I mean, we'll see what happens, and we'll see.
But there's no requirement to.
There are no requirements,
Yeah.
no.
Do you have a question?
Well, I was just, I'm curious, like, how much of the master plan do you think is changing? If you throw a percentage at it, is it like some happy to glad stuff, or is it pretty large rewrites that you're planning on doing?
It's not like big rewrites. Most of it is data updates, updates to the goals and objectives. For many of the sections, we've accomplished those goals and objectives. So like with, I think with municipal finance, we've accomplished many of those goals, such as like the TIF district, like we've already closed out the TIF district. And some of the goals that are mentioned are just completely obsolete at this point and aren't of interest at this point. Municipal infrastructure weighed in on the create an arts district goal that was a bit lukewarm currently. So that's something that we might remove at this point, but we might bring it back based on public input. And then, but the text itself, I think a good chunk of the text is still usable. Statute has changed a lot in the last 8 years in terms of zoning allowances and zoning requirements that we have to carry out per statute. But in terms of the broad strokes, in terms of purposes, such as our requirement and need to carry out smart growth goals, that hasn't changed in the last 8 years, which makes much of the text still very much valid.
Any other updates, project updates or anything? When's the parking garage opening?
I'm not sure. I keep hearing sometime during the summer, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. So with other pieces, let's see, building typologies. We're still talking about that, and that project will end next month. Consultants are coming back on June 11th to talk more in detail and to answer any questions that you might have, David, about the building typologies project. And I think that project is going pretty well so far. So I think we'll see what comes of it and what changes will be made to zoning. I think at that point, we'll need to have a conversation about what's in the zoning and what has changed. Let's see, what else?
I read
Hmm.
in the 7 days that the state is doing something similar. Will that
Yes.
need to be coordinated with ours, or will they let us preempt that somehow?
So it's similar yet different in some ways. So 802 Homes, which is done by the state, their objective is to create 10 pre-approved plans that you can take and pretty much buy and then build accordingly. I think the next step with that is to also coordinate with prefab companies and to have those plans ready as prefab. So you can just buy that ADU and then put it in your backyard. So it's a good thing that you brought that up, because 802 Homes right now is doing a survey on 10 designs that they have developed so far. And they're looking for input from everybody on what they think about those designs and how they feel about those designs. So they are specifically working with 3 communities in Vermont, but the end result will be plans that are pre-approved by the state that can be used everywhere in Vermont. So you can fill out the survey, you should fill out the survey. You can also participate in any of the 802 Homes events. They're working with the city of Essex Junction. Essex Junction has done some events with 802 Homes, and they've opened the doors to neighboring communities for you to participate and be a part of their process, because they know that the more input, the merrier, especially considering how close together we are with our neighboring towns and how similar we are in many ways. I think that's it.
Okay. Other business? I don't know what the difference between those categories is, but
I've got none. Next meeting is June 10th. That meeting's is in the process of being warned. So you'll get more information about that next week. I've been working with Paul, our communications director, to shift some of the ways that we do warnings for DRB. So when I send out the public hearing notice, Paul puts all of the meeting materials up on the website, except for my staff reports and any additional meeting materials that staff provides. So for like this item, all the materials were up on the city website on April 22nd, April 23rd. The same will be the case for the June 10th meeting. All the materials that are relevant will be up, well, except for some of the things that Greg is working on next week. So you'll have access to those materials early on, and any materials that I provide in addition, or with appeals, any testimony that I provide in addition, that'll come right before the meeting.
and you will not be leading the June 10th meeting because it's an appeal of your decision, correct?
That's correct.
So an attorney will be here
Yes,
for the town to help lead the meeting,
yes.
which we have done before. Were you here, Jordan, for any of those?
Yeah, with Eric.
Was it Bob? I thought his name was Bob.
Well, Eric got appealed.
Eric,
Oh,
Eric,
yeah,
previous
it's
zoning
Bob,
administrator got appealed, Bob DePalma.
Yeah, when he
But
was,
it's not Bob.
It's not Bob. But same offices, so. But yeah, so she will be, the city attorney will be staffing you instead of me, because I am a contested party in this appeal.
So will you be here for testimony?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, typically, when in past experiences with appeals, you typically will take testimony from me and from the appellant, and then you'll cross-examine us, and we'll address any questions that you might have. And then you and the attorney go do your thing and make the decision. I think that'll more or less be what the experience will be. Then again, this will be my first time in Winooski doing this, so things might be a little different.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
Should be fun.
Is there anything else? I don't on the agenda?
That's all I got.
All right.
I have an off-topic question.
Sure.
During the building typology planning commission meeting, someone had brought up the idea of writing into the zoning rules that developments of a certain size would have to have allocated, a certain percentage of the housing units to be multiple bedrooms, 2 or 3. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I looked into it, and legally it would be fine. I mean, as far as I can tell, I'm not a lawyer. Do you think that an idea like that has any teeth to go anywhere? Because for these larger developments, it seems like a no-brainer to me.
It's challenging. It's challenging in Winooski because we don't have that much land.
Yeah.
And so we don't have enough space to create certain geometries with buildings to allow for larger units. This is the same challenge that we kept hitting with replacement dwelling units. So there was this idea before me that like any building that has X amount of dwelling units should be replaced in kind with so many bedrooms. Or X amount of bedrooms should be replaced in kind with X amount of bedrooms. And we just kept hitting this wall of how do we facilitate that to scale, to function, and considering how small our lots are. Like say, for example, with 259 Main Street, that the modular building that just went up. I mean, that is like less than a quarter of an acre, and they're putting in 7 units. And I think that if you were to do like 3 bedrooms, and that number like cuts down by half, if not more.
Yeah, and that type of housing is important.
Yes, it is important. I agree. It's also trying to figure out how do we, since I'm not a developer, the city doesn't develop the properties. Developers are our partners in order to achieve our mutual interests. We have certain different interests, but we have some mutual interests in order to create family-sized housing. And so we have to work with developers in order to enable that, as unsavory as that might sound to certain people listening. And so we need to figure out a balance with the market conditions and our interests in order to facilitate that. So we've built in these incentives in the priority housing incentives, so that way we can encourage more 3-bedroom units if they take up more lot coverage and allow for a certain amount of flexibility that way. With inclusionary zoning, with the required allocation as affordable, we've said that you can build less affordable housing if that affordable housing has 3 bedrooms to accommodate for that geometry challenge. And I think that's the most that we've found that we can do. I think that there's more that we can find that we can do, but we keep hitting this wall of how do we balance the geometry of our lots at quarter of an acre to like most are less than half an acre with the feasibility of developing 3-bedroom units on these lots. And then how do we do it at a scale that is appropriate for the city of Winooski?
Good question.
And by scale, you mean bringing in as many units as possible?
Not quite, right? So like with the scale, I think the city, based on what I've been learning, is more open with the corridors, but with the residential districts, there's a certain feel and certain
Like character?
Sure. Well, I mean, we can say that, right? It's certain character that we want to have, and I mean, we can put that into more defined terms of what we mean by character, right? And that's what we're trying to do is put that into. It's like, so when we say character, what do we exactly mean? So that way, when you want to build a new house, you know what that is. And so that's part of the balancing act, right? Is like, how do we make sure that we build like a livable neighborhood that is at scale with the neighborhood, that fits with the elements that people appreciate about living in the neighborhoods, with this issue that we need more affordable family-sized housing. So, and how do we make sure that the scales don't tip in one way that we're just stacking flats one on top of the other, or tips in another way that the scale is so minimal that no one can build affordably a 3-bedroom house. And it's a challenge.
Thank you.
How can we get more playgrounds in Winooski? No, it's so funny. People
Yeah.
are always like, oh, Winooski is such a family-friendly city. Where are the playgrounds?
That's so true.
Is there any plans, I know you're not Parks and Rec, but to redevelop Landry Park? I know a few years ago, there was like a charrette, and they talked about, what fields do you want there, what
Mhm.
playgrounds do you want there, but nothing got put on pause, maybe it was COVID or something.
So that's in the Parks and Open Space Master Plan, and that's on the city website. That was done during COVID, and that was completed. So there was some visioning involved in that and some broader objectives for how do we want to see the parks and what we want to have in our parks. And I think that, Ray's still working at it and chipping away when he can.
There's a playground in West Allen next to the dog,
Yeah, there's a tiny one there. There's that one in Landry.
but apparently the neighbor next door, maybe, should. Anyway,
Executive session.
never mind. No one uses it. Kids don't use it.
All right, do we take a vote to close the meeting? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close tonight's meeting?
Motion to close meeting.
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you on the 10th. Enjoy the short meeting.